Welcome to Soul Searching. Our guest today is Tasha Westinghouse. Welcome.
Thanks, Nikki. Great to be here.
Tasha just completed our leadership program, and she's so insightful. And I just wanted to have her share with you some perspective that she had gotten that I think is so relevant and relatable to many people right now. Just this idea, especially because in the midst of social distancing and, quarantining and being in isolation, what kind of impact that can have on us, both psychologically and emotionally, and what are some of the things that we can do to improve upon that. So Tasha, if you could just share some of the insight that you gained and maybe share some of those best practices that you discovered as well.
Yeah, Nikki. So as I mentioned, I currently live by myself, which during this time has been incredibly isolating, and it's been challenging. I go through a large part of my day without connecting with anyone, certainly in person, and oftentimes not in video as well. And so it's just been super valuable to have this connection period during Dale Carnegie of 17 classmates who have become friends, and getting to know them throughout the process, having the really positive encouragement from you, and it has really helped grow my self-confidence as well. And I think just learning the skills to relate to people better and to be able to make friends so that when the world opens up again, and optimistically that'll be in a few months, I'll be able to go out and to meet people in a different way. And that's using the Dale Carnegie principles of remembering people's names and just learning to listen to their story. I think I've been really busy in many aspects of my life, and making friends is about making time for other people and really connecting with them and learning to listen and see them and hear what they have to say. And I've learned that people just love to hear their name and be encouraged and be shown appreciation. And sometimes I thought that people that were higher up in me in an organization or in a social club or even in a sports setting, didn't need to hear from me. And I've learned that people just really appreciate you reaching out to them and connecting with them and using their name. And so I really look forward to being able to go out into the world and to make contacts and friends much more quickly than I was able to before. And I think coming out of COVID, coming out of a period that's been super isolating, to just have this experience, I feel so much more confident and have more hope for my future, which is really incredible. So thank you.
Yeah, well, one thing that really strikes me too is, like you said, oh, maybe we can assume people don't want to hear from us, especially, I think at work when there's levels, if somebody's a newer hire or, or lower level than, a senior manager, that we can assume they don't want to. And I think even just one small thing, like I'd reached out to you and was like, oh my gosh, you would be such a great guest on the show. And, you were like a little surprised. And, from my point of view, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so insightful. I see it as you're extraordinary, you're an ordinary person with an extraordinary story. And so it's like you're talking about, like, how do you see yourself differently? So in what way have you been able to see yourself differently?
I mean, I think Satya for the growth mindset and just being okay to fail and to make mistakes and to show up authentically, bringing our whole personalities, which is a confluence of things that have gone well and things that we have learned by growing. Mm-hmm. And so just being comfortable with sharing that with other people and learning through the course that we all have had things that we've struggled with. We all have arrived here through different stories and different challenges, and that it's okay to share that. We don't need to show up in a perfect scenario, which is maybe what I had thought prior to this. So yeah. Just the encouragement was also really reinforcing as well.
You bring up a good point too. And I kind of wonder about, social media as well. It's like that idea of like, oh, kind of that Instagram, phenomenon of you think everybody else's life is not. And so like one of the things that you had shared is we don't have to be perfect. And there's beauty in imperfection or sharing struggles. One thing you also had mentioned was about the Seattle freeze. So maybe just tell us a little bit more about that, your experience with that, and maybe just kind of shine the light and help at least the listeners in this area with hearing your perspective.
So I'm from Seattle, so you're getting that from somebody who is authentically from here. But I went away for college, and I think part of it comes with age. Certainly in college, when you're out socializing, you're living in dorms or with different people, it's super easy to make friends. And as an adult, I came out of a relationship. I'm now single, and it's been a really difficult transition to find my footing, to find the communities where I feel like I belong. And some of that has come through sports. Some of that came through work, and then we go into this period of isolation, and that support community isn't there anymore. Like sports is shut down, work is all via my kitchen. So it's just been a different set of challenges. And I think Seattle is, maybe any big city, it's hard. Like I've had friends that have moved here and they've met other out of town people and were surprised when they got invited right away to that person's house. They're like, in Seattle, that just doesn't happen. Like people really need to get to know you to feel comfortable letting you into their life, into their home. And that's different than like the East Coast or certain parts of the country where I lived in the military. I think Seattle is more difficult for just many reasons. And so having these additional skill sets to go out and be able to connect with other people and to make friends more easily will be super beneficial.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, you also, I guess, sort of on a challenge to us to, and hopefully people will be more willing to invite people into the homes, to maybe expand the circle. I just even a small thing of a couple of friends of mine have a hike. We go hiking outside, masked up once a month. And I just invited somebody else to join that. It's just, okay, just trying, it's little things, what are a couple little things that we can do now, and then hopefully soon as we're able to have meals together and have people into our homes and some of those. So thank you for just helping, realize the importance of that connection and the value of that belonging and what we can do to cultivate those both like on a interpersonal level, but also like creating that community as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it goes back to managing your assumptions. Like, I think there's the assumption that people are too busy, that people have their own lives and wouldn't want to join you or wouldn't want to come to your home or wouldn't want to do different things. And in reality, sometimes people are just sitting at home with nothing to do, just like you. And so like reaching out when I have taken that step has been really meaningful and has helped like friendships that I still have today, even though that was like 20 years ago. So yeah.
If you were to say if there's either a quote or a, kind of a mantra, some like practical wisdom that you get inspired by, what is that? Life philosophy.
That's tough. I think David Goggins comes to mind anytime I think about inspiration. So he's a Navy SEAL. He's run Badwater. He's done many ultra endurance events, including getting through Hell Week 3 times. And just that when you think you're done, mentally you have about 40% more capability to give. And so certainly this has been a challenging time during COVID, during the pandemic, and just always realizing that you have more left when you want to quit, when you think things are hard, like you can always keep going. And so that's been super beneficial.
That's it. And what was that? You said time. I think there's a quote that you said about that, like the time, short term. I thought that's something.
Yeah, it's from Sea Stories, and I apologize that I can't remember the author, but again, another Navy SEAL story about taking your time horizon and breaking it down to a really small increment.
Okay.
And so when you want to quit and you're looking at the duration of something, like how can you break it down to the smallest? Like, can you get through a minute? Can you not quit for this minute? Maybe you quit in minute 2. And then usually once you get through your really small increment of time, you get encouragement and you feel like you can keep going to the next one. So that's been really inspirational to me. Again, as times have been difficult to, and particularly in athletics, to break it down to a really small component of time and accumulate small wins and use that to build motivation and positive self-talk.
Oh, awesome. Well, that is great, both for, like you said, sports wise, as well as work wise, personal wise, getting through COVID wise, like just thinking, okay, like one more day, one more week, month, quarter, et cetera, just to get through that season and develop that discipline and the mental discipline that you bring. Well, thank you so much, Tasha, for your inspiration and your insight that you've shared with us. We're really grateful. Wishing you the best. I can't wait to see you in person.
Thanks, Nikki. Likewise.
Be prepared for a hug, okay?
Absolutely. I'll take it.